different. I'm going to look at healthy habits, and it's going to be a bit shorter this time. And I'm going to try and make it short and snappy, but let's see how I get on, because I've got lots of stories to share. Do ask me questions as you go along, but I will do some question time at the end. And I'm also going to do a special offer for those of you last to the end. Then I've got an offer for you to share with people. So let's get started. Just bear with me while I get this up and running. Yeah, that's it. Technology works. Right, so one of the things I come across is how do we develop healthy habits? And this is something that I'm working on all the time, and I've still got lots of things I've not landed yet. So I'm trying to drink fresh lemon juice with water first thing in the morning. I do it for 4 or 5 days, and then I run out of lemons, or I forget to put it by the kettle, and then things go by the wayside. Occasionally, I come across people who say, that's it, everything's changing. From tomorrow, I'm going to change. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For me, what works is thinking about a habit that I want to change and doing some of the things that I'm going to talk about this morning. So building habits over a period of time and making small changes, and those small changes add up to make a big difference. So small changes. If you made a different change every day, you'd end up with 365 changes in a year. That's not going to land, but maybe 1 change a week, 2 changes a week if you want to push in. So let me share some ideas with you, and hopefully there's some things in here that you're already doing and others that might give you a bit of inspiration for changes that you can make. So habits are, as humans, we thrive on habits. Everybody brushes, well, I hope everybody brushes their teeth. They don't forget to do it. Very occasionally you might forget. So we can make habits work, but how do we build them in? And it's important that we do have habits, because if we eat regularly, then that gives us energy and keeps us going. But also something we don't necessarily recognise is that if we eat regularly and we're eating healthy foods that we want to eat, then we're more likely to avoid cravings. Or if we know we're going to have a slump first, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think I've had that conversation 3 times this week. When does your energy go? Oh, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If you have a banana at 2 o'clock, then you're less likely for that to happen. But how do you remember to have that banana that you want to have? A lot of the conversations I have are about metabolism. So my metabolism's really slow, or it's changed. What's happening here? And what metabolism needs is rhythm. Our body likes rhythm and routine. So going to bed at the same time, eating at the same times, and also our digestion likes rhythm as well, having portions of food at the same time every day. So whether or not you have breakfast doesn't really matter, but what you eat and the first food that you eat is important to your body. It wants to know it's going to get something to eat. So how do we create positive habits? Well, we make it obvious. So if I want to remember to take a supplement, so last year I was short of magnesium, I put that magnesium by the toothbrush and I remembered to take it. Make it attractive. Don't just leave those bananas that are going black on the side. Just put them all in a fruit bowl, make it look interesting, so that when you go into the kitchen, it's not the first place that you go is the biscuit cupboard, it's the fruit bowl, because it looks attractive. It's got different things in there. Make it easy. So one way to eat nuts every day is I bought this in HomeSense yesterday. Lovely glass jar, put all my nuts in it, and I'm going to leave that out on the side. Not just for me to eat, but the rest of the people in my household. And then the other thing that embeds habits is making it satisfying. So maybe having a board or piece of paper where you're tracking how many times did I manage to do this? And if I didn't manage to do it yesterday, can I do it today? And I haven't done it every day this week, but I've done it five times this week is something worth celebrating. So one of my favorite books is Atomic Habits by James Clear. And that's where this advice came from, which I think is really helpful, because you think, well, I need to start having chia seeds. When am I going to have those chia seeds? How do I make sure that I don't forget to have them? So let's think about water and caffeine. So most people I come across don't drink enough water, or they need to drink more water. So one of the ways of helping with that might be, rather than having one glass poured on the side, is think, right, I need to drink 4 glasses today. When I'm making my tea in the morning, let me put those 4 glasses out, and they're there in the kitchen or they're there on my desk, and I try and form that habit of drinking them. Another way is buying an attractive water bottle. So on the last webinar, I talked about plastic water bottles. We really want to avoid plastic water bottles because the plastic seems to be leaching into the water. So if you've got a plastic one, then swap it for a glass or a metal one. But maybe buy one of these, I thought that one on the right-hand side with the flowers on is nice. And get into a habit of carrying that around. So when you go for a walk, take your water bottle with you. And the more often you do it, the more it'll start to feel strange if you don't do that. Some people ask me about carbonated water. Absolutely fine. If you prefer fizzy drinks, then swap to carbonated water and maybe put a little bit of flavour in it. The other thing I get asked about is caffeine. So caffeine can be, it's very individual. For some people, it really doesn't suit them at all. And if you're going through a stressful period and you're quite anxious, then caffeine will irritate that and bring that on. But I guess the point here, when we're talking about habits, is thinking, how much do I want to have? So my tolerance, I have a couple of cups of green tea, a lovely cup of coffee that I really enjoy, and then I'm on to the herbal teas and the water. But an interesting thing I learnt a few months ago from someone I was working with is she didn't like drinking water because it was cold. So what we had to do was to make a flask of herbal tea. Rather than keeping a bottle of water on her desk, she had a flask of herbal tea. So that was a different way of making sure that we're thinking about what do we drink and how do we put that in the right place at the right time, and help ourselves make it as easy as possible. So the start of the day is the best way to start making those habits. So let's try and start the day well. So when we get up in the morning, we maybe put the kettle on, we move into the kitchen and just start to put those, swapping cereal and toast for eggs and vegetables. It really doesn't take any longer to cook a couple of scrambled eggs than it does a piece of toast and a bit of butter. Or when you're making your dinner the night before, is put those overnight oats together, put your frozen fruit and your oats and your chia seeds and your nuts, put those all in a bowl, and then they're ready for you the next morning. So just have a think about, if I want to put a habit in, do I want to put it by my toothbrush? Do I want to put it by my kettle? How do I start the day and maybe tag it onto an existing habit? The other thing about the morning is preparing for later. So maybe creating those post-it notes that you've got on the fridge or you've got on the door before you go out. Don't forget your water bottle on the back door before you're going to go out the door. And as you put these post-it notes in place or put alarms on your phone, try and do that on a regular basis, and you'll find that will then become a habit, and you don't need those reminders. So there's a load of research out there about how long it takes to form a habit, and I must say I'm a bit skeptical about it, because some habits I find really easy to do. Putting my nuts on the side in a pot, I'll create that as a habit, but putting the lemon water first thing in the morning seems to be something that I'm struggling with. So the research says it takes anything from a week to 60 days to form a habit and for it become repetitive, and I would say it's up to you. So when it comes to choices at lunchtime, then we've got at-home choices or away from home. So when we're at home, I'd say one of the habits you might want to change is to swap a sandwich, which is so boring, a sandwich for wraps, which is lighter, it's got more ingredients in it and less carbohydrates, or swap your soup for some protein. So having soup with a roll, put some beans in your soup. And instead of having iceberg lettuce, which is just like eating some water, it's really not worth it, is get a load of ingredients, put them all in a bowl, put some nuts, some seeds, some cheese, some eggs, and put it all in a plate. That plate there, all it is some gem lettuce, some tomatoes, some eggs and some cheese just sprinkled on. But it looks so much more interesting than ham sandwich with tomato and iceberg lettuce. So one of the complications of creating habits is when we go away from home, how do we create those choices? So I would say you need your little pack-up bag, just like your mum might have sent you to school. You need to take some things with you. So the most portable thing is a banana. Why would we not take a banana with us when we go? But maybe a fruit pot would be more interesting. Instead of a packet of crisps, take a packet of popcorn if you want something to nibble on. And I'd also say, try and decide before you get there. So if you know you're going to be on the move, then maybe go on the Greggs app and choose what you're going to have before you go in there and get presented with all the donuts and the pasties and the sausage rolls. Or if the only choice that you've got is a McDonald's, then think about, what am I going to have before I go in there? So I'm going to have some chicken selects, but I'm going to swap out the fries for a fruit bag or something like that. So trying to make changes at home is one thing. Away from home is something slightly different. But I think the key there is taking some things with us so that we don't get starving. The only thing we can find is a chocolate bar. Or when we're going into these different outlets, say going into a Subway. If I go into a Subway, you kind of, right, which size roll do you want? How much stuff do you want in it? Well, actually, they do a salad, so why don't I swap that out instead? Now, this is one that I think is more difficult at evening time, is how do I complete the day with a good meal? I found it difficult to find a picture of a roast dinner, and of course I haven't cooked mine yet, so I couldn't take a photo of it. But so that isn't the most attractive picture, but we want to finish the end of the day as well as we started it at the beginning. So how can we create a plate of food that has got everything that we plan to have on it? So I say to people, try and switch it around. What we traditionally do is put the chicken or fish on there, then the potatoes, and then slide the veg on the side. Try and make a different habit. Right, I'll put the vegetables on there first. I'll put some cabbage, some sprouts, some carrots on there, and then I'll put the chicken, and then there's just a little space left for the potatoes. So you can't pile them on there because there's not much space left. One of the interesting things is a smaller plate. So the dinner plates that we have these days are apparently much larger than we used to have in the 1970s. So maybe get one of those medium-sized plates and create a smaller portion. So it still looks like a lot, but maybe less than you've been having, or maybe less than your partner has. The other convenient thing in the evening is to cook twice as much and then have the leftovers for lunch the next day. I know many people do that, but it is a time saver and something we don't often talk about. Another tidy habit, I think, is to take a 5-minute walk, well, maybe an hour walk if you can, but to take a 5-minute walk after you've eaten that meal, because whether you eat your dinner at 5 o'clock in the evening or 8 o'clock, often our evenings are quite sedentary, so we do need to kind of walk around and shake that down, and it will help your digestion and could potentially help you sleep at night. One of the things I struggle with is eating in the evening. So I am a snacker in the evening, and I've swapped those snacks. So I have popcorn instead of crisps now. Well, it was Saturday night was my crisp night last night. But thinking about, what do I do in the evening after dinner? What do I do and why do I do it? Do I go straight from the kitchen to sit down in front of the TV? okay, I need to go out the door to have that 5-minute walk. If I go, maybe going, instead of going into the living room, going upstairs, doing some tidying up, doing something else before we settle down for the evening. And also, I've got some ideas about how we can change snacks a bit later on. But the other thing that I think is we don't spend enough time eating, just taking that 5 minutes longer to chew our food and to relax into enjoying that food and being more conscious about what we eat. So rather than scrolling through social media while I'm eating my lunch or doing my emails when I'm eating my lunch, is trying to think about actually, what am I eating? And do I want all of this portion, or will I save some of it for later? And enjoying that food and really thinking about what we're eating and why. So snacking, I'd say when it comes to snacking, they maybe think about optimizing our health. So how can I have more fruit? So I went through a stage of trying to eat more fruit, and what I did was in the morning I put a bowl on my desk that had some dates in it, an apple, and something else, and it would sit there, a bit like the bottle of water. It'd sit there, right? Okay, I need to eat that. And if it was left there at the end of the day, it just made me more conscious that I hadn't managed to eat it, and therefore, what was I going to do differently? One of the things I like to do is to have little bowls of food. So having a little bowl of grapes or dates or dark chocolate Brazils, just making it interesting. And the other thing I say to people is if you've got a snack cupboard, then that's a communal snack cupboard. You share it with your partner. If you've got children at home, you share it with the children. And therefore, you go and look for a snack, and there's the crisps and the chocolate and everything that everybody else needs. So actually, maybe it's better to have a different cupboard with my snacks in it. I've got my popcorn in there, I've got some fruit in there, I've got some nuts, I've maybe got some dates in there. So I've got my little box of snacks that I'll share with other people if they want it, but actually I'm not going into this communal snack cupboard that's full of temptation. And that helps us be more in charge of our choices. So you can see all these quick and easy things that I've spoken about. And what's a very good snack would be to have some Greek yogurt, because that's got some protein in there. It takes a little bit of time to eat. It's got some good protein, good snack, and good fats in there as well. And that little snack bag I found is like a makeup bag for snacks. So if you are on the move and you want to take some snacks with you, you can get these little bags that you put your little packet of raisins and nuts and banana in there, zip it up and put it in your bag. I thought that was really cute. The other one of the things with creating habits is how do I do my food shopping? And everybody's so different. Some people go once a month, some people go every other day. And I certainly know from people on this call that, some people are going once a month, very organized, and other people are kind of dipping in and out every other day. I would say just step back and think, how am I doing my food shopping? Is there something I want to change about it? I was in Tesco's yesterday. Couldn't believe it. I walked in, Diet Coke on the left-hand side, Baileys, must buy my Baileys for Easter. Seems to be the latest thing. It's not just for Christmas, it's for Easter now as well. And then I'm straight into the Mother's Day chocolates. And then I come out the Mother's Day chocolates and there's a whole aisle of Easter eggs. And that's before I can even get to the fruit and veg. So what, what I did was scoot round the side and go into the fruit and veg section. And one of the things I say to people is there's loads and loads of fruits and veg out there, but we tend to buy apples, bananas, broccoli, carrots, and buy the same things all the time. So maybe just take a few minutes to stop in the fruit and veg aisle rather than the Easter egg aisle and think, well, what could I buy differently? I haven't had any pears for ages. I found something last week called choy sum. Never heard of that, and it's basically like a bit like spinach that you chop up and saute. So, I came out with something different as well. Or maybe instead of going to the same old supermarket that you always go to, is go somewhere different and explore that, and just plan in an extra half an hour to look for some new foods rather than just grabbing what you've always done. And when it comes to shopping, trying to make it easier. So it seems easier to rush into the shop, do a quick scan, quick in and out as fast as possible and find what you need. But actually what that means is you then, 2 days later, you're standing in the kitchen thinking, well, what am I going to have to eat? How do I take this piece of broccoli, bit of kit fish and this, that and the other and put that together? So it works for many people to do a meal plan, and maybe you have a framework of a meal plan that, you know, I have omelette on Tuesdays and chicken on Wednesdays and roast dinner on Sunday. And then you just use that as a template and change it as you go, and come up with a bit of a shopping list on your phone. So although I forgot my phone yesterday, so my shopping list went out the window. But or if shopping is a burden for you, then go online, create a favourites list, get it delivered every week. Or shop local. Instead of spending an hour tromping around Tesco's or Asda, then go into the co-op because it'll be much quicker. There'll be less choices, but there's still enough choices. Maybe just step back and think, how do I do my food shopping now? What do I want to change? And how would I take some of these things to just change the way I do things so it suits me better? Thinking about, so I've shared lots of different things about different foods, different ways of doing things, but it is important for our overall health that we tune in to how we're eating. We think about, am I hungry? Am I just eating because I'm feeling emotional? What foods am I eating? I need to slow down. I need to chew for longer. And it's so difficult to build this into our busy lives, but maybe having a bit more mindful eating will mean that we make the choices that we want to make, and make them because they'll help us feel better. Just keeping on going, thinking about different ways of doing things. So maybe something that would suit you would be to diarise batch cooking. So Sunday morning suits me, a couple of hours once a month, and I stand there with the soup maker, all the dishes out, chopping onions and doing it all together. And that means that I've hopefully got meals in the freezer that I can pull out and eat when it's more convenient. And making sure that we've got, you know, maybe some interesting kitchen utensils and some glass dishes to keep them in there. Making sure that we've got the tools to do the job. But sometimes batch cooking, you just run out of time and you need a backup. And probably the easiest backup in the world is baked beans, some frozen bread that you put in the toaster, and some grated cheese straight away, or some eggs, some grated cheese and some mixed frozen veg. Mix it all together, defrost the veg, whisk the eggs together. You've got an omelette with some cheese and some mixed veg. Well, the rice packs are really helpful. So having a rice pack, you can keep them in the cupboard, take 2.5 minutes to cook in the microwave, or just stir fry it in a pan if you don't like the microwave, some frozen fish and a tin of sweet corn. And again, you've got three very quick and easy meals there that are a standby. So aside from batch cooking where you might plan to eat something, is having that fallback in place as well. So I've talked a lot about positive habits and different things that we could take in there. The other thing that I read in the James Clear book is, how do you convert a negative habit into a positive one? So how do you identify, this is something that I don't want to do. So I love cheese. Whenever I open the fridge, the cheese is sitting there on the top shelf. And this is a conversation I had with a guy called Simon, where he's done loads to change his eating habits. But he said the worst thing is, I'd start cooking, I open the fridge and I just have a little bit of cheese. Just to nibble on while I'm cooking. And then before I know it, I've had 3 or 4 pieces of cheese, because every time I open the fridge, that piece of cheese is sitting there. So what Simon and I did was move the cheese from the top shelf to the bottom of the back shelf so that it was less visible. So when we're thinking about changing a negative habit into a positive one, we want to try and make it invisible, take that cheese and put it in the bottom shelf at the back of the fridge, move the biscuit tin or put it out in the utility room, make it unattractive and make it unsatisfying. So let me give you some ideas around this, because I've talked about the cheese, the biscuit tin, the co-op's there because one of the things I come across is people say, I'm going home from work and I've bypassed to the co-op. I was starving. I walked into the co-op. All I needed was a bottle of milk. And actually, I bought a chocolate bar because I was starving and I ate that at the same time. After I'd eaten the chocolate bar, I got home, didn't want my dinner. So, you know, the negative habit has come in. Or sit down, have a drink, have a little snack with the TV. So how could we change those things? Well, these are some of the things I've changed. So,
What are you looking for, Bri?
oh, Dee, can you go on mute?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was. Sorry.
No worries. So maybe what's in the fridge is reorganizing your fridge to put things in different places. Maybe getting rid of the biscuit tin and having the nut pot that I talked about at the beginning, trying to encourage not just you, but everyone in the household. If the co-op is on the way home, is maybe take a different route. Might take you 2 or 3 minutes longer, but actually, you know, if you're going down a country road, you're steering away from temptation. And then in the evening, instead of having a drink and some snacks and sitting there drinking, nibbling, it's maybe get some worry beads. Was my idea to that. Because if that's what, in fact, one of the ladies at the WI said she stopped snacking because she used to eat boiled eggs, not boiled egg, boiled sweets, is she started crocheting and it just kept her hands busy. So that's where my idea for the worry beads. If you want them, they're on Amazon. But it's taking a habit and thinking, oh, I just can't stop that habit. It's something that I don't really want to do, but it keeps repeating itself. How do I take it and turn it into something else, turn it upside down, replace it with something else so that it's a positive habit that you're happy with? So when it comes to creating habits, it's important to have accountability and rewards. So if it helps, then think about me sat on your shoulder saying, yeah, oh, what are you having for tea tonight? What's that snack that you're sitting down with having for your supper? So one of the things I'm going to share after this is a habits tracker. So this is just something that you put on the fridge, decide which habits do I want to change, and you're tracking yourself across the month. Many people find it helpful to log their food on an app like FitnessPal or Noon or something like that. Just makes us much more conscious of what is it that I'm trying to change. But it's not just about accountability, it's about reward as well. So if I change these habits for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, what am I going to do? Am I going to buy myself a new scarf? Am I going to go out for a meal? What am I going to do differently? And how am I going to reward myself for making these changes? So that's all the ideas I've got to share with you this morning. I really want to help people become a healthier version and make these changes. So what I'd like to offer is a one-to-one consultation, discounted by 50%, so a huge saving. And this is where I would talk to you about your health, look through the foods that you're choosing, the habits that you're making. And if you book that before the 5th of April, then that's the offer. But if it doesn't suit you or you've already worked with me, then could you share this with somebody else? Because I am quite busy at the moment, but I really want to help people make these changes. So if you know somebody who would really benefit from working on the foods that they're eating and changing the habits, then please share it. And for you, what I've what I'm going to share with each of you is to send you a worksheet, and it works through some of the things I've talked about. What habits do you want to change? And how might you pick out some of the things that I've talked about? Because I'd like you to think about 3 changes that you could make to change a habit. So whether it's driving past the co-op, buying a lovely glass jar, putting your seeds in there with a little spoon. This is something I bought recently. Or buying some worry beads, or whatever's right for you. So I'm just gonna stop sharing so you can see me better. Oh, and I managed to keep to time. I wanted to keep it to half an hour today. So if you're busy, feel free to drop off. I won't be offended. But if anyone's got any questions or tactics that they've done that have worked or not worked, I'd love to hear about them.
Claire, when you said about the smaller plate, I actually bought a plate that had got a wide rim on it. So it looked like the same size, but the part in the middle of it was smaller. And then I only put the food in there, but it still makes mentally me think, I've got a big plate of food. So I put my portions down, because I found that I was eating the same size portions as Phil. And as you are aware, Phil's a lot bigger than me and needs more to eat. So yeah, and with your nuts on your desk, you suggested I did that, and I do that at work now. So I've got pumpkin seeds, almonds and cashew nuts all mixed together. And so instead of going, oh, Jenny, give us a brioche, I'll sit there and eat a handful of those instead. So, and as I shared with you at the beginning, after having a consultation with you about all of my health issues and everything, I've actually lost nearly just under a stone since the 24th of February, with the help of Claire, and she's helped me. I'm sleeping better. I'm not quite as emotional as I used to be. My husband doesn't fear coming home every night anymore. So I highly recommend Claire's one-to-ones, because that she's literally helped me change my life in the last 4 weeks. So
thank you very much, Mia. And well done you for making all the changes. And when you're at your desk in the office and you've got your nuts there, are other people offering you cake, or are they curious about? Do they want you to share your nuts?
Jenny keeps asking me if I want cake. She'll message me 2 or 3 times a week going, I'm going via Greggs or Bewitched. Do you want anything? And I am saying no. Whereas I used to go, I'll place the order, pick it up on the way. So yeah, so I am sticking to it. I'm going away in my mobile home next week for a holiday, so I've already put a lot of the stuff that I have in the kitchen for making everybody might have seen me drinking this god awful coloured smoothie thing, which is something that Claire recommended as well. And I've put all of the stuff in for me to be able to continue making those, instead of going, oh, I'm in my van, so I can't do it. So I've already prepared to succeed. So it's all good. It's all good.
Fantastic. And you'll have a nice break as well. You'll have healthy food, but a good break, I'm sure.
Yeah, rather than just going, oh, let's go to the burger van, or let's pop down the pub or something like that. So yeah, so I'm good. I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
So
and I think once you start making changes and you feel good, then you kind of keep going, even if they don't all stick. As long as most of them stick, then that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I think the best thing is walking in the pub on Friday night and somebody going, wow, are you losing weight? Somebody else is noticing. So yeah, it's a feel-good factor. If you start feeling good, then yeah, so thank you.
Thanks. Has anyone else got any questions or things they want to share? No?
Claire, it's Karen. I haven't got my video on because I'm feeling pretty rough still at the moment. It's dragging on far too long. But I do want to come and make an appointment with you. I need to sort out my cholesterol level. So I'm obviously doing something wrong because it's going up. So
It's so frustrating when you get a blood test and you think I've been doing the right things, and why is it not shifting? And this was what triggered a change for you, wasn't it, Mia, to say, oh my God, what's going on here?
yeah. So I've just been having a little look at available dates. So I'll sort something out with you over the next week or so.
I'll have
Ladies,
to
I'm going. Good luck with all your journeys, and Claire, I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Mia.
Take care, love. Bye bye.